Welcome to Ancient Edge, where we uncover the lost knowledge that shaped human survival. Today, we journey into one of history's most desperate hours, where the line between life and death was drawn not in hospital wards, but in muddy fields and forgotten forests. This is the story of nature's hidden warriors during World War II. Forget everything you thought you knew about World War II medicine. While penicillin was a marvel, the unsung heroes were often found in the most unexpected places, the forests, fields, and hedgerows of occupied Europe and the home front. Prepare to be astonished as we uncover how nature's pharmacy, from humble herbs to toxic plants, harvested with trembling hands, became a lifesaver on the brutal front lines. This is the forgotten story of botanical warfare against death itself. Picture this. It's 1943. You're a field medic crouched in a crater somewhere in North Africa, or perhaps shivering in the forests of the Eastern Front. The soldier beside you has a wound turning septic, fever climbing, death creeping closer with every laboured breath. Your medical kit is nearly empty. The nearest field hospital might as well be on another planet. But around you, growing through the war-torn earth, are plants that have saved lives for millennia. This was the stark reality for countless medics and soldiers during the Second World War. The conflict devoured medical supplies at an unsustainable rate. Remote theatres of war stretched supply lines, and the sheer scale of casualties created a crisis that modern pharmaceuticals alone could not solve. Before the war, German pharmaceutical companies had dominated the global drug trade, controlling the production of vital medicines. When hostilities erupted, those supply chains shattered overnight, leaving allied nations scrambling for alternatives. What emerged was, honestly, a massive, coordinated return to humanity's oldest medicine cabinet. Governments mobilized their populations in a desperate hunt through countryside and garden, forest and field. This was battlefield botany, the revival of ancient healing knowledge under the shadow of modern warfare. Soldiers and civilians alike became students of plants their grandmothers might have known, learning once again to read the language written in leaf and root, to extract from the earth itself the compounds that could mean the difference between survival and death. The battlefield was, in truth, a catalogue of human suffering. Wound infections were perhaps the most immediate threat. A simple cut could become gangrenous within days without proper antiseptics. Dysentery ravaged units in tropical theatres, turning strong soldiers into weakened shadows. Pain, constant and grinding, wore down morale as surely as enemy fire. Exhaustion, shock and psychological trauma demanded sedatives that were always in short supply. Malnutrition threatened entire populations as naval blockades strangled trade routes. Into this desperate situation stepped an army of unlikely heroes. In Britain, the Dig for Victory campaign expanded beyond vegetables to encompass medicinal plants. The Women's Institute organized battalions of foragers. Boy Scouts and Girl Guides combed the hedgerows, returning with baskets filled with rose hips, their tiny hands stained purple from deadly nightshade berries, carefully collected under expert supervision. These children became vital links in a supply chain that stretched from wild meadows to pharmaceutical laboratories. Foxglove, with its elegant purple bells, became worth more than gold. The plant contains digitalis, a compound that regulates heartbeat and treats cardiac conditions. Chemical synthesis was impossible with wartime technology, so, cultivation became a matter of national security. Fields that once grew wheat now bloomed with foxglove, each plant potentially saving a soldier's life thousands of miles away. Garlic, that humble kitchen staple, earned the nickname Russian penicillin on the Eastern Front. When Soviet medics ran out of conventional antiseptics, they turned to crushed garlic cloves, pressing the pungent paste directly into wounds. Its natural antibacterial properties, known since ancient times, once again proved their worth. Soldiers learned to recognize it growing wild, packing it alongside their ammunition. The opium poppy, cultivated under strict government control, yielded morphine, the most effective painkiller available. American and British authorities carefully managed poppy cultivation, understanding that this delicate flower was as strategically important as steel or gunpowder. Field medics carried precious vials of morphine derived from plants that might have been growing in Allied territory just weeks earlier. Valerian root became the era's anxiolytic of choice, offered to shell-shocked soldiers and anxious civilians during air raids. Its calming compounds helped steady nerves frayed by constant bombardment. In military hospitals and civilian shelters alike, valerian tea provided moments of peace in a world gone mad. Marigold petals, bright as sunshine, were processed into antiseptic creams that cleaned wounds and prevented infection. This practice, proven in the trenches of World War I, found new life a generation later. Medics in field hospitals crushed fresh marigold flowers into dressings, the golden petals a strange beauty amid the horror. Perhaps most poignantly, children across Britain gathered rose hips by the millions. These vitamin C-rich fruits, processed into syrups, became the primary defense against scurvy when German U-boats cut off citrus imports. A generation of British children grew up knowing which hedgerows held the brightest hips, understanding that their small contributions helped keep the nation healthy. The syrup, distributed through schools and clinics, tasted of survival itself. When peace finally came, the pharmaceutical revolution accelerated. Antibiotics flooded the market, and synthetic drugs replaced plant extracts. The vast networks of herb gatherers disbanded, and the emergency botanical laboratories closed their doors. The wartime herbal pharmacopoeia, which had saved countless lives, faded into historical footnotes. And, a new generation grew up believing modern medicine had rendered nature's pharmacy obsolete. But science tells a different story. Modern research has validated many of these traditional remedies. Garlic's antibacterial properties are now well documented, its compounds studied in laboratories worldwide. Foxglove-derived digitalis remains irreplaceable in cardiac medicine. Willow bark's salicylic acid, chemical ancestor of aspirin, continues to inspire new pain medications. The herbs that sustained our grandparents through humanity's darkest hour weren't primitive superstitions. Today, as we face new challenges, antibiotic resistance, supply chain vulnerabilities, climate change, the lessons of wartime botanical medicine resonate with renewed urgency. Emergency preparedness experts advocate knowing local medicinal plants. Sustainability movements reconnect people with traditional herbal knowledge. The skills that seemed obsolete in 1946 suddenly feel relevant again in 2025. The story of World War II's forgotten herbs is ultimately a testament to human resilience and, honestly, nature's generosity. When modern systems failed, and when industry simply couldn't keep pace with need, the earth itself became both pharmacy and hospital. Those who learned to read the language of plants, who could, identify healing in a meadow or at the forest's edge, became as valuable as any surgeon. This knowledge represents something profound. The ancient covenant between humanity and the plant kingdom. For thousands of years before pharmaceutical companies, before laboratories and clinical trials, our ancestors survived because they understood this relationship. They knew which leaf soothed pain, which root fought infection, which berry strengthened blood. That wisdom, passed down through generations, proved its worth when civilization's newest miracles fell short. The herbs themselves ask nothing, expect nothing. They simply grow season after season, holding within their cells the compounds that can heal and harm, waiting for those wise enough to recognize their potential. In desperate times, humans remember to look down at their feet, to notice what had always been there. If you found yourself fascinated by this glimpse into nature's wartime pharmacy, then Ancient Edge is your channel. Subscribe now to continue exploring the survival knowledge, ancient wisdom, and forgotten skills that shaped human history. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our journey into the past. Share this video with anyone who appreciates the intersection of history, survival, and botanical medicine. The secrets of the ancient world are waiting to be rediscovered. Join us as we uncover them, one story at a time. Until next time, keep exploring the edge of the ancient world.